Hey everybody, it's Gregg Bendian here at the ProgCast, and we have a very special episode for you today from the ProgCast and the Yale Oral History Archives. Before we watch and hear, I wanted to say thank you to everybody. We've hit over 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. We have thousands more on all the streaming platforms. So we've been reaching an audience that loves progressive music as much as I do, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of your comments and feedback. It's really been incredibly encouraging, and I know that you guys are getting it, so I'm getting it, and I'm feeling really great about that. Thank you to all my subscribers, all my patrons. Please consider joining our Patreon if you have not already. And if you know me, then you know that I'm a big Mahavishnu Orchestra fan, back from the age of 10, when Birds of Fire came out in 73. And it's the 50th anniversary of Birds of Fire. So that being said, I have relaunched the Mahavishnu Project. And we are out there coming to your town, playing the music from the Birds of Fire album, and as well as some stuff of Jeff Beck's, because we really wanted to recognize his passing. So mahavishnuproject.com, bendianmusic.com, you can find all of the info there. My relationship with John McLaughlin goes back to about 2002 when we first met, and he's always been a great supporter of what we do. So our friendship has meant a great deal to me. He's been very supportive just as a musician, not even as just a person that plays his music. He's just supported everything I've done in terms of my original music and all the different areas that I work in. He's incredibly open-minded, incredibly brilliant man, and it's an honor to call him a friend. So back in 2020, we did an interview for the Yale Oral History of American Music, which covered what was going on around the time of the first lockdown and how we're coping, but also a lot of stuff about life, a lot of stuff about music. And he's just, such an inspiration to speak to. So I hope you'll enjoy this archival interview with John McLaughlin. And thank you again. And there's a lot more ProgCasts coming your way over the next year. We have some cool stuff coming up. So thank you all, and hope you enjoy this little chat. But lest I forget, John McLaughlin and Shakti are coming around this summer in the US. Don't miss that. That is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, probably the last time that Shakti will be in the US, and it's a very special new lineup, of course, with Zakir Hussain on tabla, and it's just such an incredible thing to see and hear. So look out for that. Okay, without further ado, GB JMac. Gregg Bendian here. Today is April 30th, 2020. In fact, it's International Jazz Day. So it's quite appropriate and wonderful that I'm here to interview musician, guitarist, composer, educator John McLaughlin for Yale's Oral History of American Music. And we're doing a special series of interviews regarding musicians coping during the COVID pandemic that we're all being so affected by. I'm in Teaneck, New Jersey. And John, I believe you're at home in Monaco?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
yeah, I am.
How are you guys doing there?
Well, we're about to enter our 8th week here. So it's been a long haul, but we've been keeping ourselves apart, being really antisocial, which doesn't agree with me at all, or my wife. Our son is blocked in the UK, but he's in a safe place. He's somewhere in Oxfordshire with his girlfriend's family. So, but it's tricky because he's just finished his master's at UCL in London, and then the pandemic arrived, and so things got a little out of hand. He couldn't finish. None of the students could finish their masters, but now it's been straightened out, and the university's worked out something. But he's got now 5 exams to do, so I think he's going to be staying there. But he's safe. My eldest son caught the coronavirus, but he's out of it. He He was down for a while. He came out of it last week. He's doing good. But we've lost some friends.
You have.
And like millions of others. But all things considered, we consider ourselves very fortunate because we can eat, we can stay safe, and there's hundreds of millions who are really in such awful situation. It's just dreadful, really, dreadful. And anything we can do to help, I think Earth is teaching us something with this virus, that we have to take care of each other. If we don't take care of each other, I think we're doomed, basically, as a species. You know, I mean, even the animals take care of each other, don't they? And humans were supposed to be intelligent. That's the debatable question, isn't it?
Yes.
Anyway, well, we're doing fine. I don't want to ramble on too much with it, but we are.
So where were you and Ina when it became apparent that this was a very serious situation?
Oh, we're here. Here, I mean, we'd been away. We've been away for about 2 months. We'd had a month in Latin America. We went down to Patagonia, which was just a trip I've been hoping to do for the last 30 years. Finally, we made it. And then I got home in early January and had 3 days at home before flying off to India for some Shakti concerts with, there's a new Shakti, how should I say, a renaissance. We have a Ganesh Rajagopalan playing violin now. It's like the original Shakti in the 70s, violin player. But Shankar Mahadevan's in it there, Salva Ganesh, the son of Bhikkhu Vinayakram, and of course the great Zakir Hussain. And so we had some concerts there. We ended up in Kuala Lumpur, which is on the same timeline as Perth, Australia, where I happen to have 2 brothers, one in Perth and one further south. But since we're on the same timeline, which was 7 hours ahead of us in Europe, it was not such a long flight. We flew down there. So we spent almost a month down there. We came back, and a short while later, the epidemic arrived. And
First week of March-ish?
Pardon me?
First week of March, give or take?
Oh no, already in February there were rumors, a lot of rumors. I mean, we heard a lot about it in Europe. I think the US really caught on later, didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, generally speaking, I'm not talking about your fearless leader, you know, but that's another point. No, so we're here. We've been here ever since, but it's been a very active, you know, the house has never been so clean. We're working, we're cooking, eating, and making music. I've been putting out these things for little Twitter, hoping to encourage people to stay home and practice, especially musicians. Musicians could seize this valuable time if they're able to. Of course, I know a number of musicians who all gigs are off, all mine are off, all the tours are off. But you know, being around so long, I'm in a better position than most musicians. But there are some even protégés that I try to take care of. I mean, they're really suffering. It's really, really difficult for the arts at the moment. It's been difficult for the arts for a long time because of the record industry. We all know about that. It's basically, there isn't any record industry. There is, but it's very minority. And so without a record deal, who gets known? It's hard to get a concert. Nobody knows you. You know, hard to even get a club gig.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to do my best with the people that I know, people that I'm trying to help, and just encourage them, keep the faith, Greg. That's it, until this thing pans out.
And I know that we always think of you as a global citizen and someone that has connected many cultures and brought many people together. And of course, that's one of the things that we love about you. I wonder, what do you hear from your friends in India?
Oh, it's very hard over there. It's really hard over there. Unless you're really successful, it's very difficult because they're in the same boat as we are. There's a lockdown, and they're rough here. France is rough. To go out of the house, you need a paper, an attestation that basically says, especially if you're going into France, you cross over to France, which surrounds Monaco. If you go into France, you need a paper that's your name, your address, what's the reason you're going, and you're allowed a certain amount of time and a certain amount of distance also. Otherwise, you can get a fine. So but the France has really got hit hard by this virus. Like, not as bad as Italy or Spain, but really bad. I mean, many, many people infected, many died from this virus. So of course they had to, impose severe restrictions just to take the pressure off the hospitals and the clinics, because it's the same everywhere. They're on the front line. They're the ones who are, and they're giving their lives sometime. That was another reason why I wanted to do these little, play some guitar. And so I would attract people's attention and say, think about where we are and what these circumstances are. And we have to think of the other now. Because you go out, even if you're not infected, maybe you are, and you'll infect somebody without even knowing it, and you might get infected too, and you pass it, and you know how it is. So that's basically been what we're doing. Musically, about the Jazz Day, of course, which is one of the reasons why we're here. I should be today in Cape Town, South Africa, for the Jazz Day party festival. I should have been there a few days ago, but nobody's there. So what they planned was that everybody does something at home. And so that's what they're going to stream. Everybody's doing their thing at home. So, of course, kind of tricky, because you're going to invite some musicians. Oh, yes, really? That's not allowed, excuse me. So I've just done a thing where I just multi-recorded the guitar. So, and it's just simple as that, since I'm not, not allowed to bring any musicians in. I'm not allowed to go anywhere either. Then that's the way it is. And I'm sure we're all in the same boat. But that said, I'm sure we're going to see some nice stuff on the streaming video later. I sure hope so. I mean, how can we not? Look at some of the musicians in there, Greg. I mean, wonderful, yes. Wonderful.
And it's a moment where we can share the most positive aspect of ourselves.
Well, I would hope so, because jazz has it's gone through difficult times over the years. In Europe, there's still a recognition that it's a great cultural musical stream. It's really one of the greatest gifts I think the U.S. has offered to humanity. Culturally, it's just unique. It is unique. And now, I mean, it's absolutely multinational, isn't it? We've got great jazz musicians from New Zealand, Alaska, Europe, the Americas, both North and South. So I forget what the question was now, Greg. What was the question again?
Well, we were just talking about the International Jazz Day and what you'll present.
Yeah, basically that's it. That's it. I mean, with these great players, we'll be seeing them in their homes, and that's it. We'll do the best we can.
Did you record something, or will you be streaming something for today?
Oh no, we had to. I had to. They asked me to record it some time ago so they could put it with everybody else. I guess they're looking to make a program. So they've had my segment for at least 10 days now, and I think probably everybody the same. So they can create some kind of program that's got some rhythm to it, some some evolution to it. So it's not just one after the other, which it will be. But I'm sure they're looking. Herbie will probably look at everything, make sure there's a kind of nice rhythm to the way the program moves, the way the show moves.
Not to give away too much, but what did you give?
I did a tune that I used to do with the Free Spirits called Little Miss Valley.
Oh yeah.
It's a kind of for me, it's got a kind of New Orleans thing to it, which is very appropriate since it's basically the birthplace of jazz. And it's a blues, but it's got a difference. It's got an altered change in it, and it's double the length. But it's got it's more R&B than anything. But then R&B is jazz to me. You take the R&B out of jazz, and it's like taking the blues out of jazz. What are you going to do? I mean, what's left? Lots of notes,
It's the R and the B and something else.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, but when I think, of course, I'm one of the eldest now. But when I think about the albums that I heard in the '60s, I mean, just Mingus, for example. Even that album with he had Eric Dolphy and Ted Curzon and Danny Richmond, God bless them all, and this blues and roots. I mean, and that was some raw stuff on there. I mean, Mingus was really, what a stature he had. I mean, in a way, it's like because his hero was Duke Ellington, who, God bless him too. And Mingus had a very powerful effect on me because I was surviving basically playing R&B in the '60s. I wanted to play jazz, but I was playing R&B, but R&B is jazz in a way. So, you got to improvise, and how are you going to improvise in it? You're not going to play the same cliche over and over. I thought it was very appropriate, that particular piece for the.
I always thought of Little Miss Valley as kind of your Meters little hit.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh,
well,
thank you
very
much.
Yeah, it's funky.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But it's got that new. This is, for me, this is like New Orleans. I remember hearing this beat when the times I've been down in New Orleans. Kind of, that's my artist's impression of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it anyway.
John,
but I tweaked it a little bit. With the melody. I put a harmony on the melody. So
I can't wait to hear it. I'm excited.
Me too.
I saw the Free Spirits Trio many times, in particular at the Bottom Line in New York.
Oh, what a great club that was! Yeah, I missed the Bottom Line. Whatever happened to the Bottom Line? Yes, that's another story.
Yeah, I'm producing the archive, so we're getting some of the recordings out, but it ended in '04, so it's on tape.
Okay.
So John, I wanted to ask you, do you listen to music for comfort in times of difficulty?
Yes, I do. I listen to my heroes, you know, Miles, Coltrane, Bill Evans, Cannonball, Sonny Rollins. I like saxophone. I listen to more horns and pianos than guitar. Um, I like to listen to singers too these days. Singers, they've got that thing, the human voice. What an instrument that is. Big fan of Take Six. I've got a lot of their albums, you know, because that harmony, those harmonies, they all come from Gil and Bill Evans, you know, that kind of jazz post-impressionist harmony, beautiful stuff. That's what I love most of all.
What's your favorite?
That's the jazz harmony. I mean, Herbie, for example, is a master of that. I even heard that he was criticized for being so influenced by Herbie in the 60s. Because you listen to him I don't think so. I disagree with that, absolutely. You hear, for example, Miles in Europe. And I take the song, or even Funny Valentine. You listen to Herbie's solo on Funny Valentine. I'm not Miles, of course, just soaring like an eagle. But Herbie's solo, I mean, talk about harmonic extensions and lyricism. Amazing. Yeah, Herbie was amazing in 65, you know, and here he is today. So I'm really privileged and honored to know him and have played with him and be on the same show as him.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that there's a body of Herbie's work pre-Miles, which is where Miles heard him.
Yeah, well, that's why he hired him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Herbie was amazing. But Herbie, I mean, it was to see him branch out. I remember in Lifetime in '69 when we were playing in the Vanguard, we often played with Herbie and his octet. Do you remember the Herbie octet?
M1Dishi?
Yeah, with Buster on bass. We're going back a few years here, and we do these double shows at the Vanguard. I mean, we almost lived at the Vanguard in the '60s, which I was thrilled about, actually. I remember the first time I walked in the Vanguard, I could hear trains horn coming off the walls. It was amazing. Yes, jazz. It's I have mixed feelings. I know there's some great musicians, but I feel that the jazz musician today, yes, there are colleges and schools, but the jazz musician needs exposure. It's, as a pop, you have a much better chance as playing pop or rap, but the jazz musician who works so hard and dedicates his life to it, life can be very difficult. I'm sure you heard how many jazz musicians are like taxi drivers, you know, because you want to get a gig, lots of luck. It's a very hard life. It's a very hard life. And I worry, actually. I'm pessimistic about it. And it's wonderful that there is the UN Jazz Day. But I would hope, because when I think back to the 50s and 60s, and even the 70s, I mean, but the 50s and 60s, they were amazing decades for jazz. And jazz was seen everywhere, certainly as far as Europeans are concerned. I mean, and it's still today. You have these great jazz festivals all over Europe. Not this year because they're all off, including my own. But I feel pessimistic about the future of jazz because it needs musicians. They need exposure, and it's not that they should be mollycoddled. You know what I mean? Because you have to. It's the same with classical musicians. I know a lot of classical musicians. They're suffering from very bad situation with the music industry also. I mean, musicians generally. But I don't know how it's going to come out. I'm hoping that the next generation will kind of discover jazz and it'll become popular and people will listen. They will go to clubs and listen like we used to, instead of kind of, you know, I'm in a bistro and you can hear some smooth jazz in the background. And this is not listening to jazz, and this is not doing jazz a justice. Anyway, I know I'm going on a little bit here, but it's what I really feel, Gregg.
I understand it. It's hard to be optimistic given the current circumstance.
Yeah, and already it was bad, and now this coronavirus that came in. No gigs, no nothing, no recordings, no, you know, which is why I was on the net saying, okay, seize the time if you can and work at it, because we've all got these little musical weaknesses. I know after 60 years of working at it, I still got weaknesses. I'm still working at them, Gregg, because, you know, I'm still alive. I'm still playing. Every day's new. I'm not like I was yesterday. I'm different today. And so I have to bring my music into sync with the way I am today. And the only way to do that is play, practice, be close to your instrument, be close to your music, get it deep down into your soul, you know. But we have to. I mean, I have to. You know, I don't say you have to. I'm just recommending it, that's all.
So what does John McLaughlin work on in such a situation?
I work on everything. I've been writing music recently, but I love to play my guitar. So I've set up a lot of different, you know, music -1 on a lot of different tunes. They can be blues, they can be complex things. I set myself a challenge just the other day, and it was a modal thing, but all of a sudden it was in an odd place. Here comes these descending sevenths in a very curious way, but the time signature changes too. So what am I gonna say about that? What am I gonna play with that? And because it's kicking my butt already. As soon as I try to play, okay, all right, I'll go back to do it. Let me get this thing down, you know? I want to get it down. I want to get it inside. And so I can play with it. And it can play with me. The music can play with me. And it soothes my soul, soothes my brain, soothes my spirit. Playing music is the most healing power in the world for me. Maybe it's why I'm still alive, Gregg, at my tender age. No, I'm not. Yes, I'm saying in jest, but I believe that the music heals. Actually, it really heals. Heals the spirit, heals the mind, heals the body. I do believe that.
I remember a quote from the Mahavishnu book that came out with all the tunes, which, as you know, we worked with very carefully and with a lot of love.
Mahavishnu Project. Yeah, I remember that band. That was a great band you had there, Gregg. I was so impressed.
Thank you, John. A labor of love. And of course,
yeah.
You know, like any of the train tunes or the bird tunes, music that I've just felt should be played. And you educated us with all the modes and the artificial modes and you know, the extra materials that were included in the book.
Yeah, yeah, very important.
And even the quotes. Music
Yes.
is how we align the spirit. I remember.
Yes. Oh, yes. I mean, it's not just me. I remember having a chat with the great Ali Akbar Khan once, and this would be in the 70s. And I was very fortunate to get to know him well. And I never forget one time, it was after a dinner, I think, and he was chatting, and he said, you know, John, music saved me. I mean, saved. I could almost like in the biblical sense. He was saved. And I know exactly what he's talking about.
I know.
I've been saved by music. Probably my life has been saved a number of times. So, but jazz is so dear to me because it's so important. It's the spontaneity of it, Greg, because it reminds me of the deepest aspect of existence, and that is this present moment. We only have this moment. Tomorrow, it doesn't exist. Past is gone, and it's the only real form of music that can be intellectually, almost physically and spiritually challenging. And you have to be spontaneous in it, rhythmically as well. And that's a tall order. And I would say I would like another couple of lifetimes to get it more together. But, we don't know where that's going to happen. So we just do the best we can in this life. But the spontaneity, that nowness, which is the only moment where we're fully exposed as human beings. And when we're playing music, we're there. When I've heard it said, yes, with the trousers down by your ankles. But nevertheless, that to be, you go on the trampoline, not the trampoline, this high wire, where you walk on the high wire, or, you just jump off a cliff and hope you can fly, and sometimes you don't, but the only thing that gets bruised is the ego. So that's cool. And so you can just keep going and keep doing it. And
the listening and the interaction.
Absolutely. I mean, you're acting and active and passive simultaneously. It's really a wonderful state to be in. No, we know that in meditation, we can achieve marvelous states of consciousness, but we can in music. But the thing is, it can happen in a band where you have the collective experience of the Great Spirit. And this can only happen in a jazz band. I know maybe sometimes in the great symphony orchestras or a great string quartet, but the spontaneity is unique to jazz. And when that spirit takes somebody, the musicians know it right away, and then pretty soon after, so does the audience. And in a way, that's all I'm waiting for, and that's all they're waiting for. We're waiting for that magic thing to happen spontaneously. And we hope it happens. Of course, we have no control over it, which is what makes it so wonderful. When it comes, it's a surprise. Aren't surprises great in life, Greg? Don't we need them?
When I asked Jack DeJohnette, when I interviewed him for the Oral History Project, what is jazz? He thought about it and he said, surprise.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, John, speaking to you does my heart good.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Me too.
We appreciate not just what you're doing now to keep the spirit alive, but just everything that you've done throughout the years to bring things together, to bring cultures together, to bring people together and say it's all one thing.
Well, we're all one thing. Even if we don't know it, we've always been one. We cannot help but be one. We will always be one, no matter what we think. Reality is something else. Yes, we are. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
I appreciate your time, John, and I hope that you and Ina and the family continue to be well and safe.
You too, Greg. Yes, stay safe, because we're not out of the woods, but you're really not out of the woods yet. And I worry about America, because people get impatient, and then impatience can be fatal.
You lived in New York for how long?
14 years.
Did you
I'm
ever?
a Knicks fan.
I'm
Did
sorry.
I ever what? I'm a Knicks fan. I don't know how they're doing these days, but I remember Walt Frazier and McAdoo. I mean, those are my heroes. I'm going back. Hey, I'm an old timer. Come on.
Hey, man, I was there. I remember.
Okay. Oh, cool. Cool.
Mets or Yankees?
Yankees? Baseball? I'm not a baseball fan. Sorry. I like basketball. Basketball is thrilling. I'm like, I don't know. It's like you guys watching cricket. It's like, within 10 minutes you're snoring,
Yeah.
And baseball's like that for me. It's like I'm just waiting for some action, and it never happens.
Yes.
With cricket, that's if you grow up with it, then you can get in it. But I didn't grow up with baseball, so sorry. But basketball, amazing.
But did you ever think you'd see New York completely shut down like this?
No, are you kidding? No way. No, not just New York. The world is shut down, Greg. I mean, India. Okay, China's starting to come out of it. India, 1.3 billion people. I mean, Latin America, and it's bad down there. North America, we know it's bad there. I'm talking to you. You know it's bad. You're living it. I mean, Asia, and now I just heard on the news this morning, Yemen's got people infected. Yemen's already a trashed country because of the civil war. They get the virus too. I mean, what kind of treatment are they going to give? Do they have any real hospitals? I don't think so. I mean, the world is not out of it. I'm just hoping and praying that we get lucky, that we get lucky, because we could get lucky. We'll see what the Great Spirit has in store for us.
John, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Greg. Thank you.
And I look forward to hearing your contributions in sound somewhere.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to be watching tonight. I want to hear the other guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay, John.
Anyway, God bless. God bless, man. Take care of yourself, Greg.